It was an interesting week to say the least this past week for the Chicago Bulls, who ended up having one of the best games of their season in a surprising win over the Boston Celtics, to then having one of their worst games of the year and getting blown out by the Cavs, to them blowing out the Hornets the following night, and then a wild game against the Heat in which it looked like the Bulls were going to get dismantled, and then the Bulls somehow came back in that game and cut it to a one-possession game. But then one of our guys thought that he was Steph Curry and took one of the worst shots that I've ever seen this season. And I don't want to name names, you guys know who I'm talking about. But with the up and down week that the Bulls had, it's only going to end up getting harder as the Bulls face all strong Eastern Conference teams this week, all teams above 500, and the Bulls most likely will not have Zach Lavine back. The earliest that he will likely be back is at the end of this week, but that's what I want to talk about in this video, in this Bulls weekly preview video today. So what's going on, everyone? You're listening to Bulls Central here. Hope you're all doing well. Guys, before I get into the video, just a big shout out to all of you viewers in getting the channel to 6,000 subscribers. I'm so humbled by the love and support that you guys have shown over these past few months in helping the channel grow. I really do appreciate it, and trust me, it's not easy to grow a channel when it's a dedicated team that can oftentimes be incredibly frustrating to watch, but I'm sure most of you guys are like me and you're diehard Bulls fans and behind the team through the good and the bad. So again, appreciate you guys in getting the channel to where it is today, and especially a shout out to all of my early subscribers who have been here since we were at 200 or 300 subscribers and are all still active on this channel to this day. Love you guys. And for the roughly 65% of you who watch the channel and are not subscribed, consider subscribing if you're looking for consistent Bulls content, as I do to upload daily. So guys, the Bulls have 4 games this week, all against great teams who are fighting for playoff positioning in the East. And that will start tonight with another game against the Heat. Now, according to basketballreference.com, the Bulls' remaining schedule of games is the second most difficult in the East behind the Raptors and the 4th hardest in the NBA, and that's definitely going to be true for this week. When you look at the Bulls' schedule, starting off tonight again with the Heat, then taking on the Knicks on Wednesday, to then closing it out in back-to-back games against the Bucks and the Hawks. All of these games will be on the road with the exception of the game against the Bucks, where they'll be playing at the United Center. Now, for tonight's game, obviously, the Bulls know what to expect, right? We just played the Heat on Saturday. However, at least at the time of this recording, both Tyler Hero, who was out of that game on Saturday anyway, he is going to be questionable, and Kendrick Nunn is also questionable for tonight's matchup, and Iguodala has been listed as out for the game. So the Bulls catch a bit of a small break there, although the Heat are still going to have their 2 best players, Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, which Bam is a tough matchup for Vucevic. And of course, Jimmy Butler is Jimmy Butler. He's going to be everywhere on both ends of the floor. For this game, the Bulls are really going to not have to rely so much on their outside shooting like they did in the previous game. And, you know, they just continued to miss from deep in that game. But going inside more, drive to the hoop. I know when you have strong defenders like Bam and Jimmy, the immediate reaction is just shoot from outside because you know that you're going to get shut down in the paint. But going inside actually worked for the Bulls in this last game. And the last key for this, for the love of God, don't play Denzel Valentine, at least not in the closing minutes of the game, please. I don't think I can take another repeat of what happened in the last game. Then the Bulls will be off to go play the Knicks on Wednesday, who have just been absolutely red hot, closing out the season. They've won 9 straight games. Knicks fans, you know, they don't even know what to do with themselves, having a team this good after decades of being the laughing stock of the NBA. I mean, they have all but secured themselves into the playoffs and will likely be missing the play-in game. The Knicks obviously are the best defensive team in the league, and of course the Bulls struggle against strong defensive teams, given the Bulls are offensively minded and much prefer going against head-to-head with a team, you know, in a shootout where defense isn't the main focus. The Knicks are one of the worst teams on offense, though, although they have improved their offensive game most recently. So this is going to be a struggle for the Bulls. Obviously, when you go against a team that is absolutely feeling it right now with all the confidence in the world, when the Bulls just haven't been able to find any kind of rhythm, and at least, at the time of this recording, Zach Lavine will be out of that game, and as he did not travel with the team on the most recent road trip. So for this game, the Bulls really need to focus on the fact that the Knicks don't have a strong center that can guard Vucevic. I know that always, seems to be sort of the go-to response as well, just feed Vucevic the ball, but that's the reason you bring in a guy like Vucevic. When you're going against a team who doesn't have a quality center, you go to Vucevic as your main offensive weapon. Obviously, the Knicks have an all-time, or I guess I should say an all-star big man in Julius Randle, but he's a power forward who can stretch the floor for the offense. But Mitchell Robinson was really their only threat at 5, if you could even call it that, and he's been out for nearly a month now. So you're looking at guys like Taj Gibson and Nerlens Noel to take the main load at center, and both are great players and good defenders, but they also don't move as well as, say, someone like Bam Adebayo. That will make it more challenging for Vucevic to his scoring going on offense. Then the Bulls finally head back home to take on the Bucks, and I just hope the Bucks start resting some of their players going into the final stretch of this season, given the Bucks are likely going to finish with the 3 seed in the East anyway, because where they're at in the standings right now, they're 3.5 games ahead of the Knicks and 2 games behind the Sixers, likely not going to be able to catch them. Otherwise, if all of their guys are playing, it's going to be a long night for the Bulls. Giannis is Giannis, the reigning MVP and Defensive Player of the Year. He's going to get his on both ends of the floor. Vucevic isn't going to get any easy buckets when you have someone like Giannis down low. Giannis and Middleton are both averaging over 20 points per game, and you have Drew Holiday, who is also a great offensive player and defender. The Bucks are actually the best offensive team in the league, and with the Bulls and the way that they have been playing defense recently, the Bucks are likely going to be putting up between 120 and 130 points in this game, if not more. So the question really is whether they'll be able to match that offensive effort. This is going to be a game where the Bulls are likely going to have to rely more on their outside shooting, since the Bucks don't necessarily have the best perimeter defense, and going inside obviously is going to be a challenge when you're being met by Giannis. Then finally, the Bulls close out the week on Saturday in a back-to-back against the Hawks, and of course the last time these two teams met, Zach Lavine went off in the first half and scored 39 points and managed to get his career high of 50, but in a losing effort as the Hawks made the necessary adjustments in the second half to shut down Lavine, and the rest of the team just did not show up in helping Lavine on offense when he was getting double team and triple team. Now, the hope is that Lavine will be back by this game, but we'll have to wait and see on that one, as that has still been not made clear thus far. But again, another team that has been playing very well. They have a star guard on offense, their offensive weapon, Trae Young. They have a defensive beast down low in Clint Capella, another great interior presence in John Collins. You add DeAndre Hunter, Bogdan Bogdanovic. I mean, this team is very stacked, and it's no wonder they let their coach go midway through the season when they were struggling, because this team has a lot of potential, and since then, they have been playing very, very well. However, at the time of this recording, Trae Young is still out because of that left ankle sprain, but he is expected to be back for the game on Saturday against the Bulls. DeAndre Hunter has also been out recently, but he is also expected to be back by the time of these two teams face off. And Chris Dunn, he's been out the entire season, but is also expected to be back by this week. And I still miss that guy, by the way. Still can't believe we prioritized Valentine over him. But anyway, I mean, obviously it's going to be a hard game for the Bulls. They don't match up well against the Hawks, given they have a strong interior defense and multiple offensive threats from outside. That's a recipe for disaster for the Bulls. So as far as my predictions, and I think some of you joke that, whatever I end up predicting, generally the opposite happens. Like when I'm optimistic, the Bulls won't do well, I guess I should say. And then when I think that they're going to have a rough week, they end up exceeding expectations. So I'll try not to jinx it for this week, but I am going to be a little bold, which maybe isn't too bold, but I think the Bulls will go 2-2 this week, winning their first 2 games against the Heat and the Knicks. Yes, I think the Bulls will end up ending the Knicks winning streak if it hasn't already been ended by the time they play. But I expect the Bulls to upset the Knicks in this one, which calling it an upset is depressing in and of itself, given the Knicks have always been worse than the Bulls, even when the Bulls have been really bad. But I do anticipate the Bulls to lose their final 2 games of the week against the Bucks and the Hawks, especially since it'll be traveling back-to-back, going from Chicago to Atlanta. But then again, don't be surprised if the opposite happens, as the Bulls, they might lose their first 2 games and then end up beating the Bucks and the Hawks. You just never know with this team. I want to know what your guys' predictions are, though. Let me know in the comments how you think the Bulls will fare this week. I will have a live group chat for the game tonight against the Heat, both here on the channel as well as in the Discord. The link for the Discord is in the description if you're interested in following along with everyone. Be sure to subscribe as I post daily Bulls content. Thanks again for tuning in, guys, and I will catch you in the next one.